Pour it, get lit. I'm about to pour it and get lit. Already know what I wanna mix. Turn up, all up in women 40s. Feeling myself cause I'm wasted. Clumsy as hell, my fault. Just trying to find me a jump off. Closing my eyes while I'm in between. Wake up, don't remember a thing. It gets you in the mood. You like to kick off your shoes. No matter what I do.
Welcome to another episode of the If You Cook, I'll Clean podcast. I am your host, Eli Breeden. Today we're going to switch it up just a little bit. This is the holiday edition, and we're going to do a Q&A. So we're just going to be reading from some of the emails that we've gathered, and we're going to answer some of the questions that you guys have sent us. So my producer, Tito, and I will read through the emails, and we're going to answer them accordingly. Tito, what we got?
All right, let me pull this up. All right, first question is: I cheated on my partner once and confessed, but they can't seem to move on. How do I regain their trust?
So look, man. What we're not going to do is read any names because we're going to keep it as confidential as possible. But at the same time, we want to let the audience know that these questions are 100% authentic, and some of the things we can't mention on this show in terms of keeping the integrity. So we may modify the questions a little bit, but for the most part, these questions are 100% authentic. So, what did you say? What was that again, Tito?
Yeah, I gotta redeem myself. Okay,
It's okay.
So,
Are we recording right now?
yeah,
Okay.
we're on. We're live.
Okay. All right.
All right, so we can say this from a man of a woman. So this is for
That's from a woman, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from a woman.
Yeah, I thought so.
So
what was
I
the name?
cheated.
Stacy something?
Yeah, Stacy, and then last initial J.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say the whole name.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. She said, I cheated on my partner once and confessed, but they can't seem to move on about this. So how do I regain their trust?
Ma'am, that's a tough one because, I mean, the first part of that is you mentioned that you cheated on them and they can't seem to get through that. What is your expectation? I mean, you really, if you were to give us more context, maybe we could go further into answering this question. But if you cheated on them, like really, unless you're this manipulative type of person, like what's your expectation? Do you understand how difficult it is typically for a man to even accept the fact that a woman, has given themselves and given their bodies away? And I'm assuming, based on your question, is that it was some type of sexual, immorality, and that sex was involved. Is that what she said, Tito? Did she say sex, or she just said she cheated? Because cheating can mean cheating can mean a lot of different things to different people. Because some people, they have these terms, emotional cheating and all these other terminologies. But we're gonna assume you meant.
No, I'm looking at the email, and
what did she say?
It does say sex was involved.
Oh, she said sex?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you expect, ma'am? I mean, come on now. I mean, do you understand how difficult, number one, it is for a man to even accept something like that, for him to even visualize and continue to replay something like that in his head? He's not going to get over that too quick, and your expectation shouldn't be that he does. But as I mentioned, if there were more context, has he cheated before? Have you guys had issues in the past? Have you guys tried to have some kind of counseling, therapy? I mean, we need a little bit more context, but for you to say that, it sounds like you're extremely manipulative to me. And what was the last part of that question, Tito? She says something about
how can I regain their trust?
I don't know if you'll ever be able to regain their trust, ma'am. But what I can say is that if he's willing to go to counseling, and if you guys can somehow, come to some kind of resolve and work through that, by all means, just you guys can potentially work through it. But you're going to have to give him some time. You can't say, well, I cheated on this man and, he's not forgiving me. What do you expect? So I'm just being honest at this point. I'm not an expert, so my opinion may not even necessarily matter to you. So what's the next one, Tito?
All right, I'm checking right now. Okay. This is from, we're going to say the first initial is P, and then the last name is Jordan.
Is this a female or a male?
This is going to be a male. And it says, I just found out my partner cheated years ago, but never told me. Should I confront them now? Or in his case, it's going to be confront her now.
I don't know how to answer that question either, man. I would say, number one, how did you even find out? That would be my first question, because if you're going...
I'm looking in the email now. Let me see because he put a little storyline to it, and I just...
Oh, it's more to the context?
It actually is, and I just chose this part of the question. So...
While you're looking for the context, number one, how did you even find out about it? Because if you're looking for something, obviously you're going to find it. And, you better truly prepare yourself for the worst whenever, you are searching for anything. Because what I can tell you from doing my research, women will never confess to any of the things that they've done. And they can hold a secret much longer than you can. So, number one, hopefully you were prepared to discover or to find what you found out. Hopefully you were prepared mentally, emotionally, whatever, when you found that out. So that would be my first question. How did you find out? Let's start there. And what was the other part of that statement or question?
Should I confront them now?
Absolutely not. No, man. No, because however you found out, whatever your source is, I would say that if it happened years ago or in the past, I would say leave it in the past. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this, and maybe seek counseling, but because truly be prepared for her not to be completely honest with you about it. And she's probably going to totally deny it anyway. But if you want to put yourself, and if you're prepared for the worst case scenario, by all means confront her. But I would suggest forgiving and moving on, and never bringing that issue up, especially if you guys are at a good place. Were you guys married? Were you guys just boyfriend and girlfriend? Did it happen on the onset of you guys' relationship? There are a lot of different scenarios. So honestly, I would like for you to provide a little bit more context before I even, give you any advice. But I would just say, leave that alone, man, because I don't think you prepared for what potentially could happen, especially if you emailing us on this show and asking, should you confront her? My answer would be no. not until you're completely prepared for the worst. What we got, Tito?
All right.
And guys, don't forget to share this content as well. Like, subscribe, and share this content.
Okay. Now we are.
What we got?
We're here to, let me see. Let's go to this one. Okay. We have Brandy J. And she asked, she said she loved the show, by the way.
Okay.
She said, can a couple ever fully recover from an emotional affair?
What are these terms, Tito? Because honestly, I'm not fully, equipped in terms of my knowledge base to honestly even answer that. But I'll give you my opinion based on what I do know. I think we're just in this new age of just irrational thoughts, man. And I think our minds sometimes become convoluted with things, and we adopt these different phrases that are meaningless. What is an emotional affair? Do you know what that is, Tito? Because I don't. No, seriously, man. Like, what is your thought behind that?
Emotional
Affair. What is that?
Maybe they kind of like thinking about it to cheat, and they just going through emotions.
We all have random thoughts in our mind, but I mean, you know what? We have to, and I'm not saying separate it, right? You have God's law, depending on your belief, and you have man's law. We're not going to escape this world without having certain thoughts in our head. You can't hold someone accountable for having a thought and they're not necessarily acting on that thought. And how do you know from an emotional perspective, what's on someone's mind in the first place? How do you know what that man is thinking? Did he tell you?
I Googled it. So check this out.
What's up?
It says online, according to online, emotional affairs between men and women that are really friendships. They are not jumping in the bed. They are just sharing it and sometimes venting to another. That's the.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like they're confiding in another individual about their relationship, and maybe not necessarily about their relationship, but they're confiding in other individuals as it relates to their life, in terms of them just sharing and swapping information, if that makes sense. In that case, I would say I'm not sure how to answer that question. I don't think it's so uncommon for men or women to have friendships. I would say, how secure are you, in your relationship to, not necessarily hold someone accountable for being a human being. We're not going to escape this world without having different connections and friendships with the opposite sex. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you don't want a robot at home. If this person isn't necessarily interfering with your relationship and their intentions aren't to come between you guys, I really don't see the problem. But, that's neither here nor there. I think sometimes we put imaginary restrictions, and sometimes we put unnecessary restrictions on certain relationships. And that's why we can never really grow in these relationships, because we feel so confined. We can't do this. We can't do that. Well, what the hell can we do? You know what I mean? So no, don't hold that man. Stop adopting all these unnecessary phrases, man, and have a conversation with them. If it's something you don't particularly care for, you guys come to a compromise. Maybe he can talk to the woman once a week instead of every other day. I don't know.
All right, so we got this is from.
That wasn't very good advice, was it? I know.
All right, so we got Rebecca. The last initial is going to be the S. I almost said her.
Don't say no names, man. Cause
Well, this was kind of common, so nobody ain't gonna never know.
okay,
Anyway,
what we
I've
got?
been tempted to cheat. I feel neglected in my relationship. Should I confess this to my partner?
I think it depends on your partner. I think you should definitely have a conversation with him. But as far as exposing your inner thoughts and sharing with him that you plan to cheat on him, depending on the guy, I think that's a great mistake. I would say have a conversation with him, let him know and express to him how you feel in terms of, you know, you being neglected or you feeling neglected. I would say, but by all means, let that be the last resort, unless, of course, you're planning to leave anyway. But I wouldn't advise you to tell any man you're planning to cheat on him, because at that point you might as well have already, cheated on him, because in his mind you're planning to do it anyway. So absolutely not. Have a conversation with them, see what you guys can, because it could be some things that are affecting him that you may not even know or understand. And when you have that conversation, you kind of get to the root of the problem, potentially you guys can, come to a resolve, and maybe he can, start paying you more attention. Could be something with his job, as we all have. Unfortunately, some of us have, stressful jobs that we go to every day. It could be something family related, and it could even be something dealing with you and you guys, and maybe it's something that he's picking up that's causing him to pull back from you. So I would suggest definitely not saying to him you planning to cheat on him. I mean, to me that's a death sentence. I mean, depending on what kind of guy this is, but no, don't tell him that. Just have the conversation.
Great answer. Great answer, sir.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. This is from Doug. And
A dude?
Dude, Doug. His last initial is E.
You was going to say the man last name.
No, I was thinking his last name should be Fresh, because
Dougie Fresh would never be on this show. He ain't having these kind of problems. I promise you.
All right, here we go. So Doug said, if you catch your partner cheating, but they beg and beg for forgiveness, how do you decide whether to stay or leave?
Well, there are two parts to this question based on from what I'm hearing. You said they begged and begged. Honestly, I don't know if that's enough in terms of reconciliation. I think it depends on the sincerity of that person and who that person is, because we've we've begged for forgiveness on many occasions, and we end up making the same mistake over again. Is this person truly repenting, or have repentance, or is practicing repentance in terms of they're truly sorry for what they've done, and they have shown and they've proven that they'll potentially never do it again. I don't think just because someone is begging or practicing or acting in a begging nature that's enough to necessarily forgive anyone. I think there are certain principles and there are certain steps that you have to take when it comes to forgiveness. I truly believe that you have to show yourself approved. You don't just say, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, and have the expectation that even from the person who's asking for forgiveness, as if you're not going to ever make a mistake again. No, it takes time. Like, you truly have to understand what forgiveness truly is, and you have to understand what being forgiven truly is. It's not just words. It's principles. It's a process. You have to show and prove. I have to do certain steps to really alleviate myself from, being never forgiven or forgiven. It just doesn't happen, overnight. So I would suggest, I don't know. I don't just take their words as, an act of forgiveness. No, you're going to have to show me. And unfortunately, you're going to have to set some standards in terms of, what your process is in terms of, how much you think you are willing to accept from someone who does cheat on you. Like you're going to have to set those boundaries for yourself. But I don't think someone just saying, oh, because they're begging you, to me, that's not sincere anyway. I mean, and is that truly enough for you to forgive someone? And I'm not saying we shouldn't forgive. Of course we should. But I think it should be sincerity on their part in terms of asking. And I think you truly need to ask yourself, is this person being, honest? Do I believe that they'll do it again? And if you answer those questions with all honesty, then, that's a decision that you're going to have to make. But I would say no. I don't think just because they're asking you a million times that they're even sincere. I would even say they're probably not sincere if they're asking you that many times. What was the last part of that question, Tito?
Last part of that question was, how do you decide whether to stay or leave?
How do you decide to stay or whether to leave? I would say based on those boundaries, based on those steps in terms of whatever requirements you set for forgiveness. It just depends on you. I say I never, leave a conversation without, well, have you guys exhausted all of your resources, meaning therapy, counseling, marriage counseling, whatever the case may be. I don't know if you guys are married or not, but have you exhausted all of your resources? And if at that point you've exhausted all of your resources, then the decision is up to you. But just because they're asking you a million times does not mean that they're sincere with their request for you to forgive them. No. What we got? Hey guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this content. Am I saying that out of order, Tito?
No, you good.
It don't matter? Okay.
You good, sir. All right. Here we go. Okay, this is from... All right, this is from another person, a female. Her name is Monica J. It's going to be... she said,
everybody last name start with a J?
Yeah, well, she got a common last name. It's Jordan, so that's common. It's okay. Monica Jordan, I mean, it's a lot of Monica Jordans out there.
All right.
So we good. All right, how do you know when it's time to walk away from a relationship?
Once again, and I think I can play off the last question because this may be relevant as well. Everybody has different thresholds. Everybody has different gauges in terms of, what they use to determine if they've, if they're at the end of their rope or not. Honestly, I don't really know how to answer that question. I mean, is it volatile? Is it something that can't be resolved? Is it something that can't be fixed? Because one thing that I've said before in this show, you take yourself with you everywhere you go. And not to call you out, Monica, but the producer already did. He didn't mention your whole name. But I think if you enter into a different relationship, you're going to take yourself with you in that relationship. So is it something that can be from an internal perspective, intrinsically, can you make some changes or modifications within yourself to make yourself become better, because you couldn't. I was getting ready to say couldn't. You should not. You should never, determine or gauge relationships on other people necessarily. You should take an intrinsic look within yourself and ask yourself, is there something I can potentially change to make myself better, to make this relationship better? Because if you go into a new relationship with the same mentality, unfortunately, you're going to get the same result. And I'm just saying that because if you read the book, and I'm assuming you did, a lot of men are really the same. And a lot of us are very basic in terms of, what our desires and our needs are. It can't be that complicated, because you're going to find yourself in and out of relationships searching for something new. And unfortunately, you're going to find out we're pretty much all the same in many regards. Some guys may have different motives. They may, have, different goals in life. Some men may be motivated by money. Some may be motivated by other things. I don't know, but for the most part, we operate on the same apparatus. So I would suggest, just really giving yourself a hard look, and determine, is this something that can be rectified, or can we reconcile from here? But I don't think you should use a certain gauge. Like if it's volatile, if it's violent, if it's, something that is just moving completely in the wrong direction, then obviously, yes, I think you should, make a decision, especially if it's something that's going to harm you. But if it's something that you can reconcile and you can make yourself better, and you guys can get counseling, by all means, I wouldn't say just throw in the towel at that point.
Okay. Next is going to be from Oliver M. And he says, what's the best way to rekindle the spark in a long-term relationship?
That's a hard one, Oliver. I ain't even gonna try to answer that question, man. Can you? I'm sorry, Oliver. We gonna have to get back to that. I don't know the answer to that, man. I really don't, because I've been there. You know what I'm saying, dog? I've been there, and it's quite difficult, man. It is, because if you've done everything with that person, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what else is left? Like, and it's not the best answer, and that's why I said we need to come back. But I think there are plenty of relationship experts out there. There are plenty of counselors out there who could probably offer those suggestions. I would say that no matter who you end up with, you're going to end up here again. Because we all do. I think you remembering potentially why you were initially attracted to that person in the first place could maybe reignite these sparks or flames that you're talking about. But at the same time, I think what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you truly doing? Because if are you making yourself more appealing to her? Are you doing some of the same things that you were doing in the beginning to not let those flames die out? So I would say revisiting, and maybe I do have an answer for you, Oliver. Revisiting some of the things that you were doing in the very beginning to keep those flames going, whatever the case may be. I don't want to tell you what to do, but we all know what women like, and your woman more than anybody. So I would say to potentially keep doing those things. And if it's from a physical perspective, and if it's something you're not attracted to from a physical perspective, I would say revisit those things as well. I mean, you just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you have to give up in terms of, you keeping yourself up. But I would say don't have expectations of her that you don't have of yourself, and revisit some of the things that you guys were doing in the very beginning, no matter how exhausted you may be in the relationship, because once you move to the next one, it's not going to be no different, because you take yourself with you everywhere you go. What we got, bruh?
All right.
We got a couple more.
Yeah, we got some more. I have. Okay, this is from Marco. Marco Z last name.
This a dude?
Yeah, it's a dude. I don't know how to pronounce his last name anyway.
Okay.
So we're going it's Z.
Now, when did they email this? Because we sent this out a while ago. When are these? Where is these? Because I know we were accumulating a certain number of emails before we even, and we need to put the email in the on the show and tag it.
So he sent this 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And Marco got a good question. He said, "How do you deal with a partner who has a different love language than you?"
I don't even know what that means, Tito. That
Love
ain't
language?
no. That ain't no.
Yes, you do.
I know what it means, but I don't know what it means.
So love language, it basically it's what your partner really, really love. So there, to my knowledge, is five different love languages. I think it's like act of service, gifts, and then see that's two, and then you got quality time, and then physical touch. What's the fifth one? I'm gonna have to look the fifth one up.
Well, usually.
Words of affirmation.
Okay. Usually, with women, we know what their love language is. Typically, it's gifts.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, hey, I mean,
It's gifts.
it's subjective. Q.
Yeah, it is.
It's subjective. I mean,
Act of service.
okay, so we can say those two. But for the most part, women love gifts.
Quality
we do
time.
know that.
Quality time.
Some men want quality time too. It's
True.
not just women.
Yeah.
You can trust and believe that. So for the sake of trying to attempt to answer this question, it's going to be different for the most part anyway. For the most part, because women are different from us. They desire and they have a different makeup. Like, especially from an emotional standpoint, you know, they want something different. And they do want affirmation as well. So, I mean, I don't see, because your love language per se is different. What was the question again, dog? I forgot. What was the question?
It says, how do you deal with a partner who has a different love language?
You deal with it, bro. I mean, come on, dog. You deal with it, man. I mean, what do you mean? How do you deal with it? We must have different nationalities of folks who, and that's fine. But these must be some different nationality folks that we talking about, because some people I know, they don't even talk like that. We trying to get through life every day. We don't got time to be dealing with all these different nuances when it comes to relationships, love language. Go. Can I have something to eat today?
Some people.
That's a love language. My love language food.
Serious.
They do?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me try to get serious. It's going to be different, man. And just deal with it. When you discover what their love language is, they discover what yours is. If you guys are attempting to at least fulfill each other's needs in that regards, I don't see a problem. I mean, as long as you're meeting each other in the middle, or you coming to some kind of compromise, honestly, who cares? I mean, I can't tell anybody what their love language is. You know what I'm saying? The name of the book is If You Cook, I'll Clean. You know what I'm saying? That's enough said right there. I don't know, man. I'm wrong for that. What's the next one? We got any more?
Yep.
Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content as well. We probably got time for a couple more.
So we have. It's from Amelia. Amelia.
We don't have to do no last initials
okay.
no more,
Okay,
because you about to get us shut down. You about to get the show canceled already, bro.
All right, so it's going to be Amelia. She says, is it normal to feel bored sometimes in a committed relationship? So, and then the way she...
A committed relationship?
Yeah, and the way she's kind of talking in this email, I don't think she's married.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe she gave me a little hint in here. Maybe she's been in a relationship for many years and waiting for that big question, but it haven't happened yet.
When she said she bored,
That's what it
so
says.
what she
Is
think
it
gonna
normal
happen when
to
she
feel bored?
What she think gonna happen when she get married to the dude? Is my question. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer this. Amelia, is that her name? Did you say Amelia?
Yeah, Amelia.
Okay, I don't know how to answer that, Amelia. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what it is that you like. It depends on what you're attracted to. I mean, I think everybody on some level gets bored, but I mean, are you being overly stimulated? Why are you bored? Is he a yes man? I mean, is he giving you everything you ask for? That can become boring. Or are you guys just not doing much together as a couple anymore? I really don't know. I mean, and if you're waiting on him to ask you to marry him, my question would be, what's going to change when you get married? Because if you're bored now, you're going into the marriage bored. And I'm not no advocate of just because it's been a certain amount of time, you guys should, commit to one another for the rest of your life, because you guys may not be compatible. And from my perspective, and sometimes I'd rather you figure it out prior to you getting married versus you finding out you guys were never compatible after marrying this person. So if you're waiting to not be bored because you're waiting on a ring, that's not going to change from an emotional perspective how you feel now. What's boring you? Is he boring to you? Do you like the bad boy? Do you like more excitement in your life? Because I can tell you, if that's the case, I'm not saying it is, that's going to get old to you too. And that comes with major consequences, young lady. So reassess what it is that's causing you to be bored. And if you're waiting on a ring from this guy, I would say, have a conversation with him and let him know how you feel. So I think it can be common in some relationships, but I truly believe if it's somebody that is meant to, if you guys are truly meant to be together, your days of boredom, I think, will be less than you guys actually, having and fulfilling each other's purpose and, being happy together. I think your days of boredom will be limited. So maybe it's common in some relationships, but that's just life. But don't think it's going to stop if you're waiting on this guy to marry you, because it ain't going to stop. You're going to be even more bored when you get married. It gets worse, ma'am.
All right, this is an interesting question.
This is the last one, or what? How many
No,
more
we got some more because I seen some.
How much time you got?
It's okay, brother.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is from, where is it? This is from Levi. He said, how do you confront a partner who has a history of lying?
Levi, come on, bro. What's wrong with you, man? And I hope this don't get me in no trouble, man. But we gonna see who watches this show. But I don't want to be out, man, and somebody clobber me over the head while I'm out, in the streets. But Levi, come on, dog. What's wrong with you, man? What are we talking about here? Because if you are noticing a trend of this female not being honest, number one, what is she not being completely honest about? Let's start right there. Could these so-called lies, this is your question, could these lies cause you any harm or issues? And even if they're little lies, right, they compound to big lies. And you have to ask yourself this: if she's lying about something that is really small, what about the big stuff? that can cause some issues. So you have to ask yourself, what was the question again, Tito? I'm having a senior citizen moment.
How do you confront her? How do you confront her who has a history of lying?
Levi, you don't. What do you? It's crazy, man. Because I would say escape the situation immediately, Levi. Because if she lying now, she gonna keep lying. She gonna lie to you about lying, man. And if you know she lying, how you know she lying? Did you discover the truth in between these lies? I mean, what happened? Like, Levi, just keep it moving, bro. Find you someone who's gonna be completely transparent and honest with you about everything, and you won't have to worry about you confronting her about no lies. If you want to confront her, if you already know she lying, she gonna lie to you about lying anyway. Keep it moving, bro. What we got? We got any more? That wasn't good, was it? I know.
Oh,
I'm not a good host. I'm trying, man.
All right, so we got. This is very interesting too. From Evelyn.
This
Evelyn.
a bit more. What we got?
This is gonna be different.
Okay.
Evelyn asked, "What are your thoughts on an open relationship as a way to save a marriage?"
Well, it's in the book, and honestly, I don't want to, like from a moral compass standpoint of view, there are certain things that I don't particularly subscribe to. But what I will share is from collecting, different conversations from couples and individuals. There have been instances where people have incorporated that into their marriage, and I would say, from a moral standpoint of view, I don't particularly believe in any of that. But I have seen where some couples have incorporated these things into their relationship, and it works out just fine for them. But no judgment here. I'm not passing judgment. I don't have one place or the other to put anybody in, but at the same time, my beliefs are my beliefs, and I don't want to give you any advice that's going to steer you down the wrong path. I just believe what I believe. I don't believe in any of that. But I have seen where some couples have been, if you want to call it success, I would beg to differ. But some couples have claimed to have some success when doing that. My thing is, where does it end? Because are you going to be the type of person that's always looking for, that next emotional thrill, and when is enough? So I would say be extremely careful when doing stuff like that, because it could lead down a winding path to nowhere. So, but that's just my personal thoughts. I've seen some couples who claim to have success doing that, but for me, nah, I ain't with none of that.
All right, so we have two. Let's do two more.
Okay. We got a lot of questions, man. How long have we been holding on to these questions for?
For a little minute. So we have. Let's do this one. Hazel. This is from Hazel.
And we going live with this, so we don't have to do no editing and all that, right?
That's cool. Well, no, we still got to do some editing.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the question?
Hazel says, my partner says flirting isn't cheating, but it makes him uncomfortable. Where do you draw the line?
So is she doing the flirt? No, is he doing the flirt? Because I ain't understand.
It says my partner says flirting isn't cheating, but it makes him. So that means she's doing the flirting.
Oh, she doing the flirting?
Mm-hmm. But I did see in the email he flirts sometimes too. That's why she said, where do you draw the line?
Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm confused by the question, man. Who doing the flirt? They both doing the flirt?
I think she's doing more of the flirting.
I'm confused, Tito.
Yeah, it
Who's
says,
doing
my partner
flirting?
says flirting isn't cheating, but it makes him uncomfortable.
So we'll just stop right there because we don't know if he flirting or not. We'll just say, but you said he was.
I was kind of reading. I was being nosy in the email.
Okay, we gonna stop
we
right there.
We talking about her.
So she's doing the flirting,
Yep,
and he's uncomfortable with it.
that's right.
My thing is respect. Respect that man. If that man isn't comfortable, or if he feels disrespected, or if he feels like it's a problem, then I would suggest not doing it. Especially because if he's noticing it, right, that means she flirting when he around. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Is that what it sounds like?
I think she be doing it in front of his face.
She completely out of order anyway. She being completely disrespectful as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think I think it comes down to respect, and it comes down to if you're truly in this relationship and you care about, what your partner or what he thinks. I think that's out of order. I don't think I don't think you should do that, man. Especially if he's, what did he say? It was making him uncomfortable or something, or he felt like what?
Yeah, making him uncomfortable.
That's what he said.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be uncomfortable, man, because if you flirting in front of his face, what are you doing behind his back? You need to check yourself on that, man, because to me, that's a sign of disrespect. And if you're that comfortable doing that, ma'am, you probably don't need to be in no relationship, because to me, that's disrespectful. And we know it happens all the time, but it doesn't make it right. And if he's doing it, that's a conversation you guys need to have too. It sounds like a bunch of mess to me. So I would say if you're gonna respect that man, don't flirt. Don't flirt, period. Because when you do that, you're opening up a portal to someone entering into your situation, and you're giving them a signal or a sign that you may be interested in them. So I would suggest if you're doing it for attention or for whatever reason, reevaluate where you are in your relationship, because to me, that's completely disrespectful. You shouldn't do that, man. So what we got? One more?
Last one, yes. This is going to be from last name Henry. This guy, he says, what's worse in a relationship? Physical infidelity or emotional infidelity? I think I know that's a given, but
I think it's a given, but everybody looks at things differently.
Yeah.
I would say it depends on what you believe, because if you talk to some people, they're both equally as bad or as wrong, because if you think it right, and some beliefs, if you have that thought, you've already committed the act anyway. You know what I'm saying? Which is,
I think it's so is he.
Right. So, but at the same time, it's like going through and committing the act. To me, from a worldly perspective, right, is worse. That's my opinion. It's worse, because not only have you activated, that thought, but you actually committed to doing what you thought about doing. And to me, the physical aspect is worse, but I think that from an emotional perspective, the fact that you even thought of it can be just as bad in many cases, because if you thought about it, and in some instances you've already done it anyway. So to answer your question, you said last name was Henry or something?
Yeah, that's correct.
To answer your question, Henry, from a physical standpoint of view, from a worldly standpoint of view, actually committing that act to me is worse, because you've already committed to doing the act. So to me that's worse. You know, and like I mentioned, depending on what you believe, they both can equally be as bad. But how do you manage some of those thoughts that we all have? But I think from a responsible standpoint of view, or practicing restraint, it will prevent you from committing those acts, especially if you're in a committed relationship. Like, we all make mistakes, but there are certain things that you probably shouldn't be doing anyway. So the physical act to me is worse. So we good?
I agree. I thought those too.
You have anything you want to add, man? Because I don't want to feel like I'm just answering these questions on my own. Do you think it's something
those are good answers.
Yeah, but I don't want to lead nobody astray at the same time, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely not.
We want to keep it light, but at the same time, I don't want to lead anybody astray, especially if they're depending on us, and I don't know why in the hell they would be, to rectify their life. But we can offer. You never know, but we can offer some suggestions. So, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in again. This is a Q&A that we mentioned we would keep going. Moving forward, we're going to try to incorporate it here and there, and maybe once a week potentially. It's the holidays, so we are still working with different schedules, and hopefully we'll have some more guests on that you'll be seeing in the future. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content, and we'll see you again for the next episode.
Wanna mix, turn up, all up in women voices. Thinking myself, cause I'm what? Clumsy as hell, my fault, tryna find me a jump ball. Closing my eyes while I'm in between. Waking, don't remember a thing. Drinking, so glad Friday is here. Wanna toss up, drink, say cheers. Hit the homies up, say what's poppin'. Tryna walk like athlete flopping. Get dressed, feeling good, cologne squad fresh, looking like I'm Hollywood. Dark frames on low key. Now making faces in the mirror like emoji. Get lit. Bartender turn me on when she mix it. Sugar on the rim of the cup, lick it.